Recording.
Being here, especially because you probably have a very limited break and you're all very busy. So Jazakumullahu khair for taking time out of your schedules for us.
Likewise to you. I mean, we can't imagine the student schedule, and I know that two of the panelists today are also students. So I think the same goes for all of us, and it's always amazing to see the efforts and the contributions of Muslim youth in general. So I'm so excited and honored to be joined by the two fellow panelists, but also by UTSC MSA. Hope I got that right.
Yeah, no, I'd say the same. Thank you so much for organizing this. It's always nice to sort of like talk to ourselves back a couple of years and be able to like impart that knowledge and ensure that generations below us are able to also sort of see success in like the fields that we're in. So no, thank you for organizing this as well. And I'm happy to be here too.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, me as well. Again, like I completely reiterate that. Like it's really nice to kind of impart knowledge. We have too much of it, I think, and we're just kind of sitting around and hoping someone will ask us questions. So Jazakallah khair for the opportunity. And I am on my phone. I had an emergency yesterday, so I've been kind of like pushed around a bit, so I can't see anybody else. So let me know if I'm kind of talking over anyone, or if like, I need to, or if anything's happening that I need to know about.
No worries at all. And despite that emergency, again, thank you so much for being here. We really, really appreciate the differences that and the knowledge that you all have and can impart on Muslims who would like to be where you are. Inshallah, we'll start at 6:10 if that's okay. Just making sure everyone who would like to be here is here.
Assalamu alaikum, by the way.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you, Sister Saleha? Do you remember me?
Not too bad. I think I do. Yes, I think previously with JFA.
Like I volunteered with JFA
Okay.
over the weekend, but like the first time we met, it was during an Uyghur protest.
Oh yes. Okay. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it's great to see you here. And I'm the advocacy director at the MSA UTSC. It's a pleasure to host you here.
Good to be with you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are we going to be doing any icebreaker or something, or just gonna wait?
Good idea. Yes, inshallah, we can do icebreakers. Do you have any ideas for icebreakers?
Like you're more expert in that regard, so.
In icebreakers? Okay, inshallah. We can get started on just if everyone wants to icebreakers.
I mean, we can just introduce ourselves. I'm not sure if you already introduced Mohammed Said, Amber.
We were going to
Yeah,
start at 10 just to make sure everyone who wanted to come in could come in. So I think
All right.
starting introductions then would be a bit better.
Sure. I mean, but like it's just an hour program, so maybe it's better
That's
we
true.
start now. Yeah.
You're smart. Okay. Inshallah, we can get started now.
Yes.
Two truths, one lie. That might take up some time.
Yeah, like rather we can just say our names and program and
Yeah.
one area of interest maybe.
Inshallah. Okay. Let's get started. Well, Assalamu Alaikum, everyone. My name is Amber, and I am the Academic Affairs Director, Alhamdulillah, at the UTSC's MSA this year. Jazakumullahu Khairan for everyone for attending and for being here. And inshallah, this will be a knowledgeable session for everyone. I'm currently in my 4th year, and I'm majoring in human biology and molecular biology, with a minor in public law. So I'm very much looking forward to this panel as well. And I'm going to pass it over to our amazing collaborators, which is the OGA, or our Golden Age, if they would like to introduce themselves.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone.
Alaykum Assalam wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatu.
Oh, my name is Mohammed Saeed, and alhamdulillah, I'm also part of the MSA. And I'm actually this for my 2nd year, alhamdulillah, a senior advisor. So I really, really enjoy, especially attending, but also hosting events, alhamdulillah. And I'm also very thankful, alhamdulillah, by Allah's mercy to found our Golden Age. So our OGA, or our Golden Age, is essentially an international organization that's aiming to bridge Muslim professionals across many fields, different fields, any field really, and inshallah connecting those that are in their seniority, or those that are, alhamdulillah, reach their dreams and their aspirations, with those that are aiming to reach and follow their footsteps as well. So alhamdulillah, OGA has grown, and we're getting, inshallah, support from the MSA as our esteemed collaborator. And inshallah, we look forward to many of the upcoming seminars with the MSA, and inshallah, beyond UTSC, and bidhnillahi ta'ala, even across the world, inshallah. So stay tuned, inshallah, everyone, especially for the MSA upcoming events for the winter semester, but also for things that we have planned in store for OGA, inshallah, for 2024. Jazakumullahu khair.
I can go next. I'm not the organizer, but I can go next. My name is Said Murat Şimşek. Şimşek is a Turkish last name. I'm from Turkey. In my 4th year studying political science, one fun fact about me is I am doing my undergrad. This is my 3rd undergrad university, as in, like, 1st year I started in Istanbul. The 2nd year I went to France as an exchange student, and then I started at UFT Scarborough. I'm currently the advocacy director at MSA UTSC. Plus, I have been the president of Amnesty International at UTSC for 3 years. And I'm also working as a program development director at an organization called Northern Justice Watch. I'm interested in international human rights law, advocacy work, and human rights for all. And it's a pleasure to host our 3. Can we call this event like a panelists? Thanks so much for being here. It's really amazing to host you over the Zoom, and inshallah, I would be happy to see you all at UTSC in person in January, in line with your availability, because this event needs to be done in person as well, if you are free and available, inshallah.
If anyone else would like.
Are we doing, like, everyone's introducing themselves, or?
Those that want to, inshallah.
Okay, I'll go for it. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Shahira, and I'm doing a major in political science and minor in public law, like my good friend Umber. And so I too am very, very excited about attending and learning so much from our amazing panelists. And that is about it. All right.
I will go next. My name is Awais Aziz, and I'm in computer science doing undergrad at UTSC. I'm in my 5th year, currently working as a co-op, and also I'm working as a communication director at OGA.
Anyone else? Or if you wish, you can also type in the chat, inshallah. I forgot to
can go
mention.
next.
Yes, Brother Amr, go ahead, inshallah. Go ahead.
Just a brief introduction. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amr Muhammad. I'm in my 4th year. I am studying biochemistry and molecular biology. I don't have I'm obviously not in law or like policy or like those like advocacy things. I just dropped in because you can still learn. Like I'm confident you can still learn about different techniques, or there's a lot of overlap uh in learning and like uh, I'm not sure the word is, but there's a lot of overlap in terms of just information and knowledge across multiple disciplines. Doesn't matter if it's like law or medicine. So I just dropped by, and inshallah, I would love to learn from our 3 panelists. But yeah.
Jazakumullahu Khairan for everyone who decided to introduce themselves. And Alaykum Amen. Would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Okay, sounds good. Sorry, I joined a bit late. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name's Eamon. I'm one of the Sisters Events Directors from the UTSC MSA, and I'm really excited to be here today.
All right, Jazakumullahu Khairan. I think we should now introduce our amazing and lovely panelists. So all 3 of them have positions that are in law, government, and related fields. So Sister Samar is currently a 2L law student or JD candidate at the University of Toronto. And Sister Hafsah is an articling student. And Sister Saleha is a government relations manager for Justice for All Canada, which is a nonprofit human rights and advocacy organization focusing on minority genocide prevention, which is very prevalent in our day and time. She received her undergraduate bachelor's degree from the University of Toronto in politics and law, and a postgraduate certificate in international development from Humber College. If any of you would like to talk more about yourselves or introduce yourselves before we get into questions, please feel free to. Inshallah.
But like just in general?
Just in general, anything you would like to say?
Yeah, I guess like you covered it, but I'm a JD candidate at the University of Toronto. I just finished my 1st year, and I did my undergrad as well at U of T. So I did it in political science and criminology. I guess that's my like path. But yeah, as we go through, I guess we can answer some of the more substantive questions about like how like I got here or those sorts of things.
I can expand a bit more on on my introduction. I graduated this year from Osgoode Hall Law School. I'm doing my articling term, which is essentially like a term after you complete law school under a professional in order to get licensed the next year. I just wrote my bar exam, so alhamdulillah, like I'm on my way to getting licensed as a lawyer this summer. And in undergrad, I went to the University of Waterloo. I did legal studies and business. I did 3 years there, so I don't have my bachelor's degree. I did 30 credits there, then applied to law school, and alhamdulillah, I was able to skip the 4th year and kind of jump forward. So that's that. I am currently articling at a Canadian company in-house with their legal team. In law school, I worked at a legal aid clinic and did mostly humanitarian immigration law.
Sister Saleha, would you like to add anything at all?
I think you did a good job sharing some of my background. Yes.
All right, perfect. Okay, so we can move on to questions. Now, before I ask any questions, does anyone else have any questions for our lovely sisters here that they would like to ask or get into?
You can also raise your
Can
hand.
I type them in the chat
or
as
type it
I
in.
think of them?
Yes, yes, yes.
Jazakallah.
Yeah. Said Shamshik has a question. or maybe more?
I just have a question for Sister Saleha, because like I'm just sorry, like I haven't met like Sister Hafsah and Samar before, like because I know Sister Saleha, I have some questions to her about like the advocacy work she's doing at Justice for All Canada, and I just want to say to everyone that like Justice for All Canada has been doing an amazing job, especially recently about Palestine and Uyghurs, especially for our Uyghur brothers and sisters. And Sister Saleha, I've been seeing you speaking and giving some press conferences and talking about Palestine. I just want to say, like, how are you staying resilient in the face of this? For us, it's not problematic topic, but like in Canada, it's difficult to raise your voice for Palestine. So how you are staying resilient, and do you face any backlash from anyone, like on social media or in person? Like, what are your advice to us, to university students, to stay more resilient, and how do you cope with the situation in general? Thank you.
Of course, no, Jazakumullahu khair. I think that that's a very relevant question. And I think that a lot of us, not just Canadian Muslims, but people of conscience, anyone who cares about human rights, we're all on the same boat. I think whether or not you either work directly in advocacy, or maybe you do a little bit of advocacy on the side as a volunteer, or even if you just care about these issues, I think that what I've learned just from being in this arena is that we are all hurting. I think people are hurting, Muslims are hurting, and a lot of us are feeling helpless and feeling like we don't have a voice, that we're unheard, that the Canadian government is not hearing us. So of course, in terms of backlash, yeah, absolutely. With the work that we do. So just to give a quick introduction about Justice for All Canada, we are a human rights advocacy organization with consultative status at the United Nations. I'm glad that we have an Amnesty representative here. The work that we do is very similar to Amnesty. We just really focus on Muslim minorities that are living under non-Muslim majoritarian states, and experiencing state level discrimination. So just a few of the examples of minorities that we do work on are Rohingya, who had undergone a genocide in 2017, Kashmiris, Uyghurs is a big part of the work that we do, as well as Muslim minorities in India that are now under a genocide alert, as well as Sri Lankan Muslims that also don't get as much attention for the genocide that they are under. So it's interesting because we have all of these different campaigns now, our Save Palestine being one of them. And yes, going to what you said, I can definitely see a huge difference in terms of the reaction. So for instance, when we're speaking about Rohingya in Parliament, or when we're approaching members of Parliament or Canadian lawmakers on the Rohingya file, it's such a different response versus speaking about Palestinians. I think certainly it's a divisive topic, and even with our Canadian leaders, you're seeing those leaders that are sympathetic towards Palestinians, or at least using their voice to advocate the federal government to make a difference under foreign policy, under Canadian foreign policy, and then you're seeing these Canadian MPs and lawmakers that have, for lack of a better term, shown their true colors, and displayed anti-Palestinian racism and Islamophobia, and the way that they are actually, putting their rhetoric out there. So I think that, what we've learned is there's this massive inequality in terms of how Canada applies its human rights lens, where it applies it, and their preference to be influenced by some lobbies that are more Israeli, and their proneness to be influenced by things like that, versus human rights first, which is what it is supposed to be. So we're trying our best, and I think that in terms of keeping that sense of hope and inspiration and resilience, there's actually an amazing Palestinian Canadian diaspora here. They do an amazing job in terms of showing that strength, showing up, sharing their stories, and having that courage that is inspiring and is shocking every day. Every day I'm always surprised to meet and to speak with another Palestinian professional, another Palestinian student, that despite despite what is the genocide, the ethnic cleansing that is going on, that can still stand their ground and speak their truth and share their lived experience, which is very important, which is what is needed. So in terms of the recent press conference that we did in Parliament, if you had noticed, I know that I was speaking, but the three other speakers, they were all Palestinian, and they were basically like scholars and professors in the Ottawa region. And I think that sharing the lived experience, especially if you're from the impacted region, makes a huge difference. It helps to lend some of that resilience to those of us that are supporting them. So that's where a lot of that strength comes from. And I hate to use the word like accomplishment or win, but I think that in these heartbreaking conflicts, you do have things like milestones. You do have moments where, okay, you see that advocacy working, you see the fruits of some of your labor. So we'd like to also focus on those more positive milestones and progressive steps in the right direction.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Sister. Thank you. It's and I applaud your, like Shahira did, I applaud your amazing advocacy for part of Justice for Canada. And in person, I met many of your team members at the RAS convention. I just expressed my solidarity and like word of encouragement with them too. Like, keep up the good work. Like, we are looking up to you guys. Thank you.
Likewise, I mean, Jazakallahu khair for the platform. Otherwise, it would be kind of impossible to share this work that's going on if it's not for these students and these student created platforms. So thank you as well.
We have another question. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullahu khair, Sister Saleha, for the amazing response. Very comprehensive. Alhamdulillah. Brother Hamza has a question. Can we get involved, and I assume with Justice for All in Canada, inshallah? Is there any volunteering opportunities that are out there? Is there a mailing list that, inshallah, everyone here can actually get signed up to or subscribe to? And that way, inshallah, get updates as to what they can do to help support any upcoming advocacy events or sessions that may occur in their locality?
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Brother Said, for the link to our website. So definitely, Brother Hamza, take a look at our website. You can usually see like a link to sign up for email like newsletters that we try to send every week. Since the October 7th Israeli hostilities, like a lot of groups are doing, we have established like a WhatsApp group. And I can share the link for that on the WhatsApp group on a daily basis. We try our best to share like the Canada Gaza action of the day. So that is also something that you can take part in. And absolutely, I mean, there are always volunteer opportunities within the organization. And something that we also try to do is we kind of let students tell us what they would like to launch or initiative that they feel like speaks more to the needs of the students and what the kind of experience that they're looking to gain. So just kind of off the top of my mind, if it's whether like a human rights chapter that you would like to establish at your campus, or if it's a kind of, I don't know, like a monthly advocacy event, a meeting with interested volunteers, or a periodic program for raising awareness about global Islamophobia impacting Muslim minorities. So definitely, Brother Hamza, let us know if there's something specific that you would like to help launch, and we also like to do it that way, as opposed to putting together a volunteer opportunity that we think of and it really not fitting kind of the experience that you're looking to gain. So I hope that helped answer your question. And I will put the link to join the WhatsApp group. It's specifically Canada-Palestine Actions. I'll put that into the chat.
Jazakumullahu khair once again. And I just want to add in, subhanAllah, I realize I'm actually also part of that group chat. By Allah's mercy, there's so many group chats out there, even on WhatsApp, and so many social networks promoting within our own communities and even beyond with other faith groups, like Justice for Palestine. And so, alhamdulillah, I just heard of earlier today, I just want to let everyone know, because even though it's a tangent, something very hopeful and optimistic to hear is that one group known as Justice for Action for Palestine, actually has brought in 15 medical doctors from North America to and also from Egypt, alhamdulillah, to a first World Health Organization, essentially a coalition to bring in doctors straight into Gaza. So inshallah, that's something that can really inspire, inshallah, for everyone here, even if they're not interested in not necessarily governmental roles, but perhaps even, assisting humanitarianly, our brothers and sisters in Palestine or any minority groups, including our Uyghur brothers and sisters, those are in Chechnya and everywhere else. These are amazing opportunities that inshallah we can, as one ummah, unite on the same banner and also with the same strategy of helping our brothers and sisters in any way possible. So alhamdulillah, this was like a lot of alhamdulillah. As Sister Saleha pointed out, it's like it's a milestone. So alhamdulillah, I'm very, very grateful and just wanted to put that tangent out there. Alhamdulillah. We have another question though. Jazakumullahu khair for sending it once again. The WhatsApp group chat from Brother Said. Is there anyone else, if you don't mind, Brother Said, is there any other questions? If not, we'll go straight to Brother Said, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, go ahead, inshallah, Brother Said.
This question will go to Sister Hafsah. Because once you said like you went directly into law school with 30 credits, it just immediately grabbed my attention because like it was something that I didn't hear before. Like so you completed your 30 credits and then you were able to apply to law school, I guess. And did it cause you any problems in the admission process that you didn't finish your degree? Like how it happened? And can you please give us more details so that like the prospective law students here would get an idea about your process and maybe we can follow your footsteps as well.
So thank you for the question. I was really sure that I wanted to go to law school from like middle school, alhamdulillah. So when I was in undergrad, my undergrad degree was legal studies and business. And I knew that, after undergrad, I was going to do law school. And so I was pretty sure and I didn't have any doubts. So for anyone who is not completely sure that they want to go to law school after, I would not recommend doing this because a bachelor's degree is necessary for most things afterwards. Like if you want to get a master's, if you want to get a PhD, having a bachelor's, or even most jobs require the actual degree. Law school, and I believe med school as well, does not require the actual degree. It requires 30 undergraduate credits. Right. So, and many people don't know this. I didn't even know this. My cousin also did this. And so he was telling me that, hey, like, why not just apply? So I took my LSAT in second year, in the summer of second year. And I started my law school application in the beginning of my third year. So I wrote my LSAT, got my score, and then started my application. The application is usually due on November 1st. So I did my application and I'm like, if I don't get in, at least I know what the process is and I'm going to try again next year. So in my third year, I applied and I got into Osgoode Hall Law School, which is all universities in Canada, all law schools in Canada don't require a bachelor's degree. Neither does U of T, but U of T explicitly says on their website that it is very, very, very rare for someone who doesn't have their bachelor's degree to get in, or who doesn't have 4 years to get in to their law school. So I didn't apply to U of T because I felt like, that would be a waste. I applied to other law schools. Some of them emailed me and asked me if I was planning on completing my third year, which would be the completion of the 30 credits. But other than that, there were no other issues. You do end up getting your acceptances later in the year just because, again, they want to make sure that you're actually going to complete the year. In order to get those 30 credits before they do accept you. But once you confirm with some universities, or once you're a little bit once it's very clear that you're going to be completing the year, those acceptances do come in. It isn't common. I can't tell you if it's not common because people don't know about it or if it's not common because people don't get accepted. I'm not sure. I don't imagine that my statistics were like exceptional in any way, in that like, oh, hey, I was for sure going to get it after my third year. I do think it's worth a try if you're absolutely sure, because it does save you, again, a year of undergrad, saves you tuition money, things like that. And it does kind of fast track your process into a career in law. Again, like there's no real rush to start law school and law school become a lawyer. You have a very long time, alhamdulillah, to kind of get settled into your career, get settled into what you want to do. And there's obviously many people like change their mind in what they want to do very, very frequently, or in circumstances that they don't imagine that they're going to be changing their mind. So again, like I was very sure, and that's the only time I would actually recommend that route. I hope that answered your questions. If you have any other follow-up.
It did answer my question. Thanks so much. And like, may Allah bless you for all the good work you do. Thank you.
Thank you. I do also want to comment on previously when someone asked what they could do. And I know Sister Saleha mentioned a lot of volunteer opportunities or like things that WhatsApp groups and everything. But I do also want to mention that everyone here can help people who are, voicing their opinions on the ground here, right? So it doesn't always have to be helping the people in Gaza directly. You can also be helping the people who are trying to amplify their voices or trying to, do things in Canada for people who are getting backlash for speaking up, right? So I'm part of Action for Palestine Legal. So I know Brother Mohammed mentioned Action for Palestine. Action for Palestine, there's a legal aspect side of it as well. And many of the lawyers who are doing work and kind of speaking out about it are getting backlash on social media. And there's not many people supporting them as opposed to the people supporting, the people on the other side, right? So it's important to kind of remember to interact and engage with social media posts and things that lawyers or people who are well versed in international law, well versed in the law of within Canada, who are kind of speaking up about it here, right? So without that engagement, it becomes difficult for them to continue speaking out, and it becomes difficult for them to not get such severe backlash from the other side, right? So inshallah, if we can continue to support even the members of our own community, that would be amazing. Just like things that everyone can do, even sitting in their own room, inshallah.
Like, this is so important. I'm just gonna jump in, but like this is truly important. As someone who's using like Twitter, the platform X, for years now, I can see and tell that people, because they wanna like protect their mental health and stuff, they just are like, okay, I don't want to write this post because there'll be lots of hateful comments and stuff. But if we see some love and some affection and some supportive words from our people, it will encourage us to speak even more. And this is really so important. It's not something that we can overlook. And I'm just a bit I don't want to use any word like disappointed and stuff, but it's so important that people, at least if they don't want to show their faces, they can have anonymous accounts. They can, and that anonymity like can give you like more courage to kind of use supportive words, and it will not be tracked, and you can just be present on that Twitter. Kind of there's a fight going on, and the state officials and government officials like MPs are all seeing the comments, and it impacts their work, and it sometimes encourages them or discourages them. That's why it's important to kind of sometimes write supportive words, retweet, and all this stuff on social media. And thanks so much for bringing that to our attention. Thank you.
Yes, I just want to follow up, and mashallah, we have two questions, mashallah. Subhanallah, just to keep this in mind, there's so much that we can all do for Gaza and for Palestine overall. Do whatever you can, even if it's a dua, and duas, you don't even want to, Allah will make sure it's written for you specifically in your book of deeds. It won't be anonymous, right? So do whatever you can, my brothers and sisters, for Palestine. You know, most of us are, I wouldn't be surprised if most of us are not Palestinian, but subhanAllah, where are our hearts? Our hearts are with the Masjid al-Aqsa, our hearts are with the people of Gaza, our hearts are with all of Palestine, and in entirety, throughout the entire world, for all those that are being oppressed. So inshallah, let's keep this in mind. Whatever what you can, and trust me, do not fear the people, fear Allah and what you will say for not taking part when our brothers and sisters are being literally slaughtered in silence. But inshallah, may Allah forgive us, may Allah elevate us, and may Allah protect us all. I mean, I'm going to move forward with the follow-up 2 questions. These are pretty interesting and questions that I've thought about myself personally. From Sister Shahira, is there a forum or group chat available to seek legal advice for academic and or career repercussions that one may be facing due to their involvement with Palestine or Palestine? I know we have, actually, I'll let all of our panelists refer to this because inshallah, you all have the expertise in answering this question. Jazakumullahu khair.
So I'm going to jump in. Again, I can't see if anyone was trying to jump in before me, but that group chat that I mentioned, Action for Palestine Legal, they do have a group of employment lawyers and a group of lawyers that have been helping university students as well as employees who are getting backlash from their employers, right? So there was a lot of repercussions that were going around for law students, for university students, even university organizations. I don't know if you guys have heard about what happened at York, have heard about what happened at Lincoln Alexander, which is a law school at UTM. So a lot of, not UTM, the Toronto TMU. There you go, TMU. So a lot of things have been happening, with students facing backlash and repercussions, and a lot of ostracization from like employers in recruits, right? So we have groups of lawyers actually working with those students to help them and to show them what to do on the legal side of things. So if you are facing any repercussions, there are people who are here to support you. A lot of people tell NCCM first, but if you do have any situations, tell NCCM, and NCCM contacts the Action for Palestine or the CMLA. Many people have been, the Canadian Muslim Lawyers Association, many people have been going through the CMLA. There are many routes to contact lawyers, and there are lawyers waiting, not waiting, but who are here to help you and are responding as quick as possible. Like the group chat never, like I get messages literally every minute of every day of like lawyers saying that, hey, this is a new situation. We need people on the situation, and kind of mobilizing towards that. There are lawyers, again, like working behind each and every student that is facing repercussions. So if you are dealing with that, don't just sit on it and be like, this is something I need to deal with, or oh, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't have done this. So the Action for Palestine, I just saw your question. The Action for Palestine legal group chat can't be sent because it's a group of lawyers. And we get our information from the CMLA, who you can email, and the NCCM, who again you can email. So once those emails are sent, or once someone from our community in the group chat, it's a group chat of over 100 lawyers and law students and articling students, who kind of feed in information from wherever they can get it. So I think the best way would be to email CMLA or NCCM if there is a problem that you're facing, or if someone is facing. Inshallah.
Inshallah. And just to clarify, I think we could still add the Action for Palestine. It may have already been sent, but was there an Action for Palestine WhatsApp group chat link sent out as well? If I'm not mistaken. Because unless it's only admins that have access, but there's also the general community group chat, if I'm not mistaken, that everyone could be a part of.
I think you're right with that. I don't have access to that one. I'm not in that one. So whoever inshallah has access to that one can send it over.
Okay, alhamdulillah, I just found actually. Allahu Akbar. So inshallah I'll be sent. And alhamdulillah. Anyone else for Sister Shahira's question?
Maybe Sister Samar can just jump in to answer that question. I'm not sure. Like, is there a forum group chat available to seek legal advice for academic career
Yeah.
implications?
I think Hafsah covered a lot of it. Like generally what is happening right now, I'm the Muslim Law Students Association president at the University of Toronto. So a lot of the work we're doing, you could reach out to the MLSAs in your school if that's something, you know, you have access to. We're happy to help and connect you. So if you're at U of T, for example, UTSC, you can reach out to me. And then we would connect you to the Canadian Muslim Lawyers Association. Hafsah mentioned the CMLA. They're doing a lot of work right now in relation to Palestine and sort of the backlash that people are receiving. So if that is the case, the first avenue, if you are facing repercussions for speaking out, would be to reach out to the CMLA. And then from there, they can connect you to a lawyer, and inshallah, you know, we can deal with the situation as effectively as possible. But yeah, I think Hafsah covered. I don't know any group chats aside from that. But otherwise, I would say go straight to the CMLA.
Okay. Sorry, I may have interrupted someone. Was there anything else to add in? No? If not, alhamdulillah, we also have another question from for Sister Samar, inshallah. Can you share your experience with the UFT Law School application or the UFT Law School application process? What experiences did you have or took part in? And were there any specific challenges you faced during the application phase? I imagine you also have like interview phase and other logistical things to take part in or like to consider. Maybe if you could share as many details as you can, inshallah, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So basically when you apply to law school in any law school in Canada, there's sort of three main components. There's your GPA, there's your LSAT, and then there is a personal statement. There's other smaller, I guess, components as well that you have to fill out in the forms, but those are the primary three. As most of you, I'm assuming, are an undergrad, your undergrad GPA, which would be sent through the Ontario Law School's admissions, would transfer, and that would be the GPA that would be used in your applications in Ontario. And so you'd want to maintain, you know, we can talk numbers if you'd like, if someone wants to reach out to me, but in general, there's sort of each school has a ballpark of what you'd want your GPA to look like. So once you finish up with your GPA, I did my LSAT in the summer between third year and fourth year. So I went straight after fourth year to law school. And so, you know, I would say that that was probably the most challenging part of law school. Getting into law school is writing the LSAT. It is definitely a very like mentally difficult task. And so, you know, I went through that for a couple months. Most people study for a couple months, write it 2-3 times if necessary. You know, you can do it, I believe, up to 5 times. So that's the second component. There's also a range of like LSAT scores, average, depending on the school. So, you know, you can access all this information on various forums or websites to see where you might stand. But again, like this is not necessarily the determinant of whether you're going to get it in or not, but it does provide a good baseline of where you might want to apply, where you might want to give your energy. And then I would say the third factor is the actual application. So the personal statement. So with U of T, there are two. There's the personal statement, which is shorter than most schools. And that is basically a sort of retelling of your journey on like, who are you? Why do you want to go to law school? Why do you want to go to that particular law school? And then you would also have, I had a diversity statement as well, which is something you can write for a lot of schools. So that is how your identity, whether that is your like religious identity as a Muslim, or whether that's your identity, you know, cultural identity, or any other identities that you have, contribute to why you want to go to law school or have played a role in your life and in your interactions with the law. So, you know, it's those three factors that build your application package, and then you would submit it. I believe the deadline is November 1st every year. So it just passed for the coming cycle. And, you know, you'd wait a couple months. The first round usually for U of T comes out in December, mid-December, late December. And so that's sort of the cycle. And then if anyone has like questions on particulars relating to the LSAT, relating to your GPA, the application, you can always contact me. I'm happy to answer any follow-ups as well. So that's sort of a broad overview of the application. It's no different than like, would be for any other law school, aside from maybe small changes in the word count for the personal statement, or, whether we accept summer courses, we don't, but that sort of stuff. Generally, though, they're all the same in Ontario.
I have
think-
another question. Oh, yes.
Sorry, I would like to hop in because another component that's required for law schools that are not U of T is what I realized really recently are references. I talked to some of my U of T colleagues, and I realized again recently that they don't require reference letters, but the other universities in Ontario do. And the entire application is kind of submitted together, right? Application for each university submitted together with the personal statements just differing for each school, like Samar mentioned. It is important to note that like law schools outside of Ontario have different processes and different portals that you have to use. So for Ontario, it is one portal. It's the same portal that you use to get into your undergraduate schools. It's just slightly different for law school. But yeah, reference letters, I would say, would be another component if you're looking to apply to a university that's not U of T.
Yeah, thank you for filling that. I totally forgot that we even had reference letters, but yeah, you need 2 references. Generally, they would be professional from your professors. So if you're in like 3rd year, 4th year, you might want to start seeking out, if you're seeking to apply to law school, relationships with your professors so that they can write substantive reference letters when you get to your application stage.
I would also say that one of them needs to be academic, the other one does not need to be. I think it could be useful to also, create relationships with, if you're volunteering anywhere, your volunteer managers, or if you're working anywhere, your managers at work. So I submitted 3 because some of them, like you get to pick and choose which ones go to which university. They let you submit 3. I had one from work, one from a volunteer place, and one academic. So it could be good if you have good relationships with different types of people to kind of incorporate that as well.
Jazakumullahu khair. MashaAllah, those are great comprehensive responses. And I was wondering if there's a way to contact you for more information. I appreciate it greatly. This is from Sister Misha. Alhamdulillah. If all of the speakers would be willing to, that'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you prefer email, then also that also works, inshallah. One comment that I had, because often people, especially us younger undergraduate students, and my case being a graduate student, a lot of us are like in need of support, mentoring support, in order to actually make sure we stand out from the applicant pool. Let's say it's for law school, graduate school, med school, etc. So I'm just curious because I know for the Faculty of Medicine at U of T, they have what's called the Community of Support, which is aiming to essentially bridge the gaps for research opportunities, many opportunities to, inshallah, help support and foster your application from the pool. But I'm just curious, does either U of T Law School or any law schools that any of our panelists are aware are available, especially for Muslims that are seeking, to become lawyers and the next generation of leaders in Canada, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
I guess I'll just hop in, but I guess one of the biggest things I really enjoyed about the legal community and that I'm continuing to enjoy is that there's a very strong culture of mentorship if that's something you seek out. I will say off the top of my head, I don't know any like formalized sort of mentorship programs. There probably are under the CMLA, but not to my knowledge. But I will say that, if you seek it out, you'll be able to find it. And so, I just, whether it's in law school applications, I had someone from the MSA who was older who had helped me through the process. And so, he read over my applications, gave me advice. The same person helped me in recruit. And the school provides you mentors once you get into law school. But generally before that, I would say seek out people that you meet in panels like this. Go on LinkedIn, friends of friends. The Muslim legal community is very small in comparison to other communities. So people are always willing to help and go out of their way to sort of meet with you, edit your work. I went through like so many applications this cycle. And so, it's just about having that sort of initial courage to reach out. And I promise you, people are very, very receptive in the community. So, find someone on LinkedIn, reach out to me. I'm happy to help and talk one-on-one if that's something that you'd like. But yeah, as long as you're reaching out, you see someone you will be able to find that sort of help. People are very open to that. So that I don't know any formal structures though, but informally, you definitely can build your network in that way.
So I'll hop in here. I do know some formal structures, like not like a formal from the universities, but formal, like there have been groups that have organized formal mentorship programs where you sign up and then they assign a mentor to you. So there's one called Legally Bright on Instagram. They have a website where you can sign up for a mentor and they have a group of mentors. There's also one called Lawyered, like LAWYERED, like Lawyered. Again, on Instagram, they have a website and they also have like a formal structure. I've mentored students from my first year. So I've mentored at least like say 12 to 20 students, undergrad students, through their applications for law school. And it was really it's really great kind of seeing the reward from that, because I ended up going by my third year, one of the students that I mentored got into first year. So I was in I was sitting together with her and kind of got to see the fruits of, that mentorship. And it was really kind of great. So there's that. I was a president of my Muslim Law Student Association while I was at Osgoode Hall. And something that, I'm positive that, that at least Osgoode Hall, and I was very well connected with the rest of the presidents. So I'm not sure. I know you're saying that you were president of the Muslim Law Student Association at U of T. I'm friends with Mohammed Mahiri, who was there. I went to his wedding. So it was really, it's really nice to have those connections. And she's really right that, those connections kind of are definitely there. And if you ask one MLSA for connection in a different law school, I can 100% guarantee that they'd be able to do that, and they'd be able to, kind of reach out and ask. So if you're looking for a specific law school and you're not getting, a Muslim mentor from these other organizations, and you really want to know the Muslim experience at these law schools and how they went through these processes, I would recommend, just even on Instagram. I think Instagram would probably be the best place, because most of the MLSAs kind of navigate their contacts through Instagram. Message on Instagram and be like, hey, I'm an undergrad student. I'm a Muslim undergrad student, and I'd really love to get mentored. Is it possible to assign one of your 1Ls or ask one of your membership if they'd be able to mentor me? And I would be hard pressed. I would be very surprised if any of them said no. Just because when I got those requests, I would see to some of them personally, just because I love, again, talking about myself and talking about my experiences. And I guarantee that those other students also feel the same. So I did that for some undergrads who reached out to me personally from my membership when I was in a law school. So I can vouch at least for Osgoode Hall, and I'm sure Samar could vouch for U of T. And again, I know the presidents at U Ottawa as well as U Windsor, and I know that they think the same way for sure. And Western, they're all very very nice people. So reaching out is not a problem, inshallah.
MashaAllah. Jazakumullahu khair, Sister Hafsah and Sister Samar, for the amazing responses. And inshallah ta'ala, something just to remind each and every one of us, we have the NCCM, we have CMLA, we have Justice for All, and so many other organizations out there that if you're seeking volunteer opportunities, these are the people that you reach out to. Particularly because they are Muslim first before lawyers. And I want to reiterate that because us being Muslims, we should always keep this as the forefront of our minds. And so we're literally doing all of this from the MSA to OGA to CMLA and everyone else around here, all for the sake of Allah. And so inshallah, this is a momentous way for each and every one of us to gain hasanat and please Allah in the process. And so may Allah accept it for all of us. Ameen. one other question, one final perhaps for timing. We have from Sister Shahira a very notable question with regards to Sister Summer's response about the diversity section for the UFT application. Her question is if anyone or if any one of the panelists, so not just Sister Summer, but everyone here from our panelists, if they could discuss or elaborate on an experience. If any one of the panelists have experience identifying as an individual with a disability on their application, and if that can or has a negative effect on their acceptance, inshallah. If any of the three of you can respond, that'd be greatly appreciated, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khair.
Yeah, I haven't had that experience, so I don't know if any of the other two panelists can speak to that. So sorry, I can't be more of help in that regard.
I don't think we'd be able to tell, right? So like we wouldn't be able to tell what kind of effect the disability section has on your application.
Diversity. It's the diversity section, not the disability.
So I'm reading the question. I think it says if anyone of the panelists have experience identifying as an individual with a disability on their applications, would they mean diversity?
Oh, in the diversity section of the application.
Mm-hmm.
I presume there's like a diversity, like kind of like a EDI or IDE, like an equity, inclusion, diversity section. Is there one that provides opportunity for individuals to refer to their disabilities and how that may impact their application?
I believe so. So it's been a while since I've done the application. And Summer, you can, I guess, jump in here. But like, I think you can even upload documentation if it's something that you want to prove or if it's something that would severely affect your application. But there's always chances to kind of explain things, even in your personal statement. I can't imagine a situation where anything would be negatively affected because you're mentioning your diversity or disability. In fact, I've always gotten the advice that like kind of milk it, like always, and it's really weird to say, but like you want to, and it's not something that people really think about. That my diversity is kind of my strength, but that's what your application is, right? You showcase your diversity as a strength, and that's how you stand out, right? So if you have a disability, to kind of like showcase why that's also your strength in terms of how you can contribute to a law school environment, how you can contribute to to the legal profession in general. So it's all about how you frame things and how you kind of showcase something. So you're not just going to be identifying as an individual with a disability. You're going to be showcasing and framing it in in a manner that tells them, okay, I am an individual with a disability. This is how it's affecting my application, but this is why it's important for me to be in law school. This is why it's important for me to be in the legal profession. This is what I can bring, and this is how I'm different from everybody else. And this is why my perspective matters. So that all kind of, I think that would strengthen your application. It again all depends on how you frame things, and it's very important that you frame your personal statement in a manner that differentiates you and also showcases each of your different aspects in a way that shows that you are important to the law school and that you're going to be an important voice to the law school. So I think that would be how you would frame that.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I would say that like Hafsah made a great point. You want to frame whatever diversity point you're bringing as a sort of, not as a deterrent, but as although that these factors have very negative impacts on our lives in the practical sense, as something that you bring to the school. So and I want to also emphasize that once you do start like at law school, there are very comprehensive accommodations departments at the school. And so if that is a point of concern, or if that's something that you're worried about, maybe moving into it, just know that there are very, very comprehensive accommodations within schools as well. And that's something that, you can reach out to the school about in prior, anonymously, whatever you're comfortable with, just as a heads up, I guess.
Jazakumullahu khair. Both of you, Sister Summer, Sister Hafsah. I just wanted to touch quickly, and I know we're over time, inshallah. If anyone has to leave, that's not a problem, inshallah. I'm just going to send a quick invitation for everyone that's interested to know a bit more about our golden age, inshallah. But alhamdulillah, if anyone has to leave, I just want to sincerely say Jazakumullahu khair for all of our panelists and all of our attendees, because alhamdulillah, it's only by Allah's mercy that we're here in this amazing gathering. So inshallah, all of us will, be the next generation of leaders, and inshallah will join the same ranks as our dear sisters here. May Allah bless all three of you and all of our attendees once again. There is one final question though, inshallah, and of course if the speakers are willing to stay a bit, inshallah, then we would really appreciate it, but if you have to leave, there's no worries as well. But for Sister Samar, inshallah, Brother Hamza is asking about essentially the grades and how they impact your application process. So in particular, if the first and second years of our undergrads matter as much as third and fourth years in terms of our grades, do law schools want to essentially see an improvement from our earlier years, and would that make a huge impact in our application? Jazakumullahu khair.
Yeah, so I would say that U of T, I can only speak to U of T. Hafsah can probably speak to Osgood, but we take top 3 years at the school. However, if you're applying in fourth year, like I did, you only have 3 years. So those grades are all that the school has to work off of. I will also say that generally from what I've heard is that an upward trajectory in your grades is a good sign. That's something that they do look for. I had the opposite. I had a downwards trajectory just because I enjoyed first year a lot more. But overall what they're looking for at the end of the day is an average. And as not to be very straight, but there is a particular average that a lot of schools look for, and there's a little bit of deviation from that average that they will take. It also depends on your program. I mean, I came from a poli-sci background, so there's a little bit more emphasis on maintaining that higher average, but I know people who came from engineering backgrounds, science backgrounds, have a lot more flexibility in what the school would take because of their program and the sort of requirements that are present and the grades that are given. So there is, I can, if you want, you can reach out to me and we can talk about your averages, or how they might calculate that on the OSAS scale, which is the scale that the law schools use, as well as and then I would also say that if you do decide to apply after undergrad, then they would take your top 3 years, which could also include your fourth year. So that could be a strategic decision if you decide that you want to take a year off to apply because you realize your first year or your second year might not be your highest grades. And I know other schools take best 2, some take last 2, some take all 4. So this really does come down to what school you're applying to and what your grade distribution over the years has looked like. So that's something that you would have to tailor individually.
Yeah, I think that's completely right. Towards the end, like all schools have something different, and it's important to kind of do your research beforehand. There's a website that I used to use that would tell me, like, I forgot the website's name. I'm sure if you just wrote like law school grade admission distribution or something like that, it would tell you how many, like what exactly they take. And some, like Summer mentioned, sometimes it's best 2, sometimes it's last 2, sometimes it's a cumulative, which includes your first year. Sometimes they don't look at the the progression. And sometimes they do. Like, there's a lot of things that we also don't know about the admissions process because it is a black box. It's very difficult to say things for certain that, hey, they look at, how things are distributed, because all you kind of see is submitted is your GPA, your OSAS GPA, and it's weighted. So one thing I would say is that the GPA that you calculate may not be the GPA that OSAS calculates, because it is different. So having that in mind, I know some people said it was much lower than they expected compared to what they had calculated previously. Some people say that it's the same. Some people say that it's more. So it's very important to keep that in mind and to have that expectation set in. Another thing, like U of T is a stats-based school. So it puts a lot of emphasis on your GPA and your LSAT score before even your personal statement. But other schools are most other schools are holistic, again, other than UBC. So on Osgood, Windsor, like Windsor doesn't even release its stats, like the stats that it expects. It doesn't tell you the LSAT score it expects. It doesn't tell you the GPA that it expects, because it considers itself like a completely holistic school, meaning it's going to consider all the factors and it's not going to tell you how it's doing any of it. But that it's not only on the numbers. Osgood is the same, where it's like, it's not like if your GPA is a little low and your LSAT score is high, but your personal statement is amazing, it's very much an entire package that they're looking at, and not just your GPA, right? So that's another thing to consider. If your GPA is a little lower, but your LSAT score is really high, or if you have a lot of experiences and you're a really great writer and you have a really great personal statement, considering that amongst your scores, right? Like I've seen people with really low GPAs, really low LSAT scores get in, but it's because they have such great experience in other places, right? So kind of doing that kind of research as well is very important. Not everything is about GPA, it's about LSAT, and other schools kind of take a look at it very differently.
Jazakumullahu khair. Brother Said, I just wanted to ask if you had a follow-up question, or if inshallah, yeah.
I studied political science enough to kind of not go over time. I had a question, but inshallah, when we have them in person, I'll ask those questions in person, inshallah.
May Allah bless you, Brother Said. And I want to ask if all of us, our panelists, may, of course, make dua for us. All of those that are pre-law or pre-JD students that are very apt to, inshallah, do their applications and, inshallah, become the next generation of lawyers, judges, inshallah, wherever and whenever possible. Fi sabilillah. And of course, if possible, if you could send in your contact information, that would be greatly appreciated, inshallah ta'ala. That way, all the students here that are interested would really appreciate reaching out to you, all three of you, inshallah ta'ala.
Yeah, we need your emails for sure. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullahu khair, Sister Saleha. And inshallah, we will greatly appreciate Sister Hafsah and Sister, I think you're all writing it, mashallah, so quickly. Sister Hafsah, Jazakumullahu khair. And inshallah, Sister Summer, we'd really appreciate it. Inshallah, we're always happy to, inshallah, reach out and connect, inshallah, even on our LinkedIn. So inshallah, whenever and however possible, feel free to connect with the UTSC MSA, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn as well. OGA has the same platforms as well as WhatsApp, alhamdulillah. And inshallah, we'll continue to be connected. Inshallah, if the speakers don't mind as well, you'll be likely seeing very familiar names newly added into your followers list on your respective socials as well. But Jazakumullahu khair, Sister Hafsah, Sister Saleha, and Sister Samar, we really, really appreciate it. And alhamdulillah, I know everyone here has as well. Jazakumullahu khair.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Jazakallah khair, thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you.
Walaikum salam.
Hope to see you guys in person. Take care.
Inshallah, soon, inshallah. Take care.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khair, everyone. I'm just going to end off with Surah Al-Asr, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Jazakumullah khair, everyone. May Allah bless all of you for your attendance. MashaAllah, we really, really appreciate it.
Now everyone is gone. Let's debrief a bit, inshallah, if you have time.
La ilaha illallah. I don't think anyone will leave. MashaAllah, we are one. MashaAllah, we have people that are. I'm not sure who Misha is.
Oh, she's
Misha?
part of LSOU, the pre-law society at UTSC.
Oh,
Misha,
mashallah.
thank you for being here.
So, Amber, did you organize this?
So it's MSA and OGA. So me and my brother Mohammed Said both. Like
It's Amber. It's Amber.
Yeah, I can try. Yeah, I just wanted to say, inshallah, for the future, please let us know even before in the planning phase so that we can contribute even more. Mashallah, this was a great event.
Inshallah. And we are thinking of having for January a human aid and philanthropy, humanitarian aid and I can't talk. I'm sorry. Okay, my mind is blanking, but we're having another one in January on philanthropy and humanitarian aid. So
Yes,
if you
humanitarian
have
assistance
anyone,
and philanthropy. Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be in person?
yes, inshallah.
Inshallah.
We
Mashallah.
were supposed to have this one like earlier on before the end of the semester, but panelists were just very, very busy. Again, like Sister Summer, she was like, I would love to come, but like I have exams. And she was also very busy as well, so it's hard to.
There needs to be a wall too, for sure. And it needs to be in person. Like these people, mashallah, are amazing. And like Zoom is great. It's a great tool to connect, but in person would be a lot better in a sense that, like, I don't know, I just like it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brother
Amber?
Yeah.
No, I had a question. Is Screen someone we know? Screen.
I think that's Brother Muhammad Said.
Okay, that's his.
How did you know? How did you know?
It just, I don't know.
You always have a
you were
second
there.
device. That's
I
why.
don't have. Unlike our dear undergrads, I cannot afford a computer, so I have a desktop. Alhamdulillah. So what I will say is that I'm usually using my phone, and that's why it moves a bit every now and then. But alhamdulillah, I really appreciate it, especially Sister Umber and the entire MSA, and of course, Brother Awais, who's from OG as
I
well.
just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, it's okay. I was just curious, mashallah, like we're getting our scientific brains into a law panel seminar, alhamdulillah, so that's really nice.
When you reach out to, I wanted to reach out to someone from medicine. Like, can you promise compensation for them, or
for an upcoming event? Like
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing? Like compensation in a sense that like they come
gift card, like something.
Honorariums.
Yeah, like pretty much honorariums. Because I wanted to ask Hunain what his, I don't know if you know or if Tenzin told you anything.
I don't think we have the budget, because even when I was like, I want to give our panelists a small gift, she was like, yeah, $5 chocolate. And I was like, okay. So like, we don't really have the budget. I don't think we have the budget, but I can definitely ask again.
Okay, no, it's okay, don't worry, because Tenzin, she's out, like she's busy, and Hunain is like, I should ask him, so don't worry, I'll ask him, don't worry. Because I'm not sure, I'm just not sure if they'll cover it, you know? If they'll cover honorariums, I guess CSU. But I'll confirm.
Okay. You're right. Okay.
That's fine, I'll confirm.
I can also ask Aisha. I think I have a meeting with her tomorrow. I can also ask her.
Aisha Khan?
Yeah.